Hey, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for joining me for another Tools and Tech Tuesday. So a few weeks ago, we looked at the accessibility features in the PlayStation 4. Today, I thought it would be cool to take a look at the accessibility features in the Xbox One S. Now, if you're like me and you have a visual disability and you're trying to decide which console to buy, there's one important distinction that you might want to keep in mind. I'll tell you about that after we run through the options in the accessibility menu. Let's check them out. Alright, let's run through these accessibility options. So this is what the Xbox One looks like by default when you first buy it. If you hit the Xbox button, which is lit up at the top of the controller, you'll get this menu. Use your left stick, go down to settings, and down at the bottom you see ease of access. Now there's several options here. Let's start with the bottom and work our way up. So the first thing I turned on was the high contrast. So you actually have two options besides having the high contrast off. You can have light mode on, I don't like that very much. I keep dark mode on. Next up, we have closed captioning. So in the closed captioning, you have several settings. You have closed captioning off, the default style, and you have custom styles. And when you go to custom style, you can set up all these different options here. Let's go over to audio. So your only option for audio is you can leave it by default as stereo, or you can turn it on to mono. Next up, let's talk about game transcription. You can see here you have several different options. In this screen, you can set it to do things like transcribe people that you are chatting with, their voice to text on the screen. You can also have it set to transcribe your text to a voice for them to hear you when you're typing. So now let's talk about magnifier. This is an option that I really like. You can see that you have a few options here. You can have a large on-screen keyboard. You can have it warn you when you're turning the magnifier on, and you can have it follow the focus of the controller, which is what I do. Here's how you zoom in and out with the controller. You double tap on the Xbox button to turn on magnifier, and then use the right trigger to zoom in, use the left trigger to zoom out, and while you're zoomed in, you can use your right stick to move around the screen, and you can zoom in quite a ways. Now let's talk about narrator. Narrator is a feature that will read text aloud to you. Here you can see different options that you can set for the narrator.
Magnifier mode, settings window, narrator options, button, 1 of 5. Changed input learning mode on checkbox, narrator options, button, 1 of 5. Change the voice narrator uses. Adjust voice, Microsoft David, combo box, collapsed, 1 of 4. Choose a voice for narrator.
Now, once you hit narrator options, here's some more options that it gives you inside of that.
6 of 6. Narrator. Narrator on exiting narrator.
Finally, let's check out the controller options. So in the controller settings, you can remap the buttons, you can change the vibration settings, and the co-pilot feature is where two people can control the same character using two different controllers. So let's say one person has only a right arm. Well, someone else can use another controller and act as their left arm. So they can work in tandem together to play the game. So people with only one arm or one hand functional can still play a game. By the way, I forgot to mention, this is a 50-inch screen. And this is how the font will look in comparison to a quarter when you have it as large as it will go. Well, there you have it. That's what's available in the Xbox One S in the accessibility menu. Now, if you're trying to decide between the two platforms and you have a visual disability, there's one important distinction that I think makes the Xbox a better choice, and that is that it can zoom in a lot farther. With the PlayStation 4, you can zoom in, but it's only one level, and it's not nearly as big. So with the Xbox, you can choose to go very big, or you can just go in a little bit. So you can hit the trigger button on the Xbox multiple times and make the stuff really big, and the left trigger to shrink it down. And with the PlayStation, it's just in or out, and it's not as big. So if you are looking to be able to make smaller things really large on the screen, then the Xbox is going to be the way to go. If the amount that you've seen on my other video that I showed how far you can zoom in on the PlayStation is going to be adequate for you, then I still think that that's a good contender. Either way, they're both great consoles. I hope you found this information useful. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. And if you know anyone who might find this video useful, go ahead and share it with them. Thanks so much for taking your time to join me for another Tools and Tech Tuesday. See you next time. Today, I thought we'd take a look at the accessibility features in the Sony... Oh, I goofed that up. I thought we'd take a look at the accessibility features available in the PlayStation 1S. PlayStation 1S. If you're like... Today, I thought it would be cool to take a look at the accessibility features in the Microsoft Xbox One... I don't need to say Microsoft. So a few weeks ago, we looked at... Keep my mind on the right thing. Hey, I thought it would be cool to take a look at the accessibility features in the Microsoft... Keep on saying that. I hope this helped. Look, thank you for joining me. I hope this information will use... And if you have anyone who you know... There we go. That's the take I wanted.